I remember it's like 2006, 7. They're like, audition for this movie, Twilight. It's based on a book. It's going to be great. And
Oh, wow.
I send in my tape.
For who?
Edward.
Wow.
A month later,
Did I know this?
I get a, I'm with my manager. He goes, it's down to you and 3 guys. You're close. I'm like, really? I hadn't even had a tummy tuck yet. I'm like, there's no way. He's got to be so shirtless. It's not going to happen. Spoiler alert, didn't get it. But I remember, and then seeing our Pats playing this part. I'm like, in what fucking world were they like? They're like, okay, here's what we're thinking: Chris Hemsworth or Stanley Tucci. Like, what the? Impossible!
Dude,
Impossible!
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we almost worked together.
I did not know that.
Oh my God, that's
Holy
so
crap.
funny.
My big question is, because I think we had the same acting coach as a kid, Andrew McGarian.
Yes.
The
Yes.
best, right?
Yes.
Like, who was in your acting class? Because he had some big hitters.
He's really, he produces some winners.
Who was in your class?
Let's see. We had like Britt Robertson, Carter Jenkins.
Okay, I had a better class.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought you said produce winners.
I think Austin Butler and me overlapped at some point.
Biggie.
Triggering for you, though.
God bless Austin and his weird accent that you can't lose. Evan Rachel Wood was in mine. Evan
Yes.
Peters, all the Evans.
Was Evan too? Wow.
And I remember, and tell me if this is true, what he said was, and he was always giving you, I'm not just saying this, he was always giving you so much credit, because he was like, between the first and the second Twilight, in the books, your character makes this kind of a bit of a transformation physically. Was there talks before, because you in the original movie, you were like lean and thin and not the...
Yeah, I mean, I was,
the
a
Adonis.
16-year-old boy.
Right, natural, normal.
Yeah.
And were there talks that maybe you weren't going to play Jacob in the second movie because you just didn't quite physically fit that part yet?
There wasn't before. The first time I had heard of that was shortly after the first movie came out. But I knew that if the first movie did well, they were going to want to start filming the second movie pretty shortly after, like at the beginning of the new year. And I've read the books, so I know where my character goes. So thankfully, long before the first movie came out, I started my transformation journey. But the studio was unaware of that. So right after the movie came out, it did very well. They decided we're greenlighting the second movie. I got a phone call from my agents and my managers saying, hey, tough news, but the studio just called us and they let us know that they thank you for your participation in the first movie, but they're going to be moving on and recasting for the second movie.
For the same part?
Yeah. And I kind of saw it coming, but what the studio didn't know is I started my journey probably 9 months before that phone call. So my team was just like, okay, I hear ya. Have you seen Taylor recently? And they were like, no. And they were just like, okay, well, you may want to take a meeting with them. And they were like, okay. So I took a meeting with them. They were surprised. At that point, everything stayed on. I put on, at that point, like 20, 25 pounds of muscle, maybe 20 at that point.
Wow.
And then they were surprised, but they didn't stop their search for other people. They kept talking to me as they were doing auditions with, 10-year older guys than me.
How did you feel?
I got it. I understood. I understood why, because there's no way I could have played Jacob in the second movie and on looking like I did in the first movie. So I understood that. But as soon as they saw the amount of work that I had been putting in for the last 9 months, at that point I was like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? So then I had to start the audition process completely over again.
Wow.
I had to meet with the studio. I had to meet with the director. They made me read again with Kristen, or actually they wanted me to read again with a casting director. And I called Kristen up and I was like, "Could you do me a favor? Would you read opposite me for this?" And she said, "Absolutely."
So she fought for you.
Yeah, she did. She was a huge part of that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there definitely was a meeting where they were like, "All right, take it off."
Wow, for real. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember being in the parking lot before that meeting because like they said that they like needed to see it, and I remember being in the parking lot. I brought some like dumbbells and just like pumping up before I walked in the room. I like walked in with a little like tank top.
Well, it's good to know everything's equal in show
I
business.
was gonna say, did that happen to you at Nickelodeon as well?
But like, could you imagine like I don't think you could, certainly you couldn't do that with a female, but like in any version of that, right? But like, could you do that with a guy today, like 15 years later?
I don't think so.
Probably not, huh?
I don't think so. I don't think you could. Yeah, I don't think a studio. I don't think you would be in a boardroom of a studio having like 15 executives and on one side of the table, you on the other side of the table, and them being like, "All right, take it off. Let's see it." You're like, "Well, that's odd." I'm like, "Well, the book does say."
Did you do any posing? Were they like sick lats? Like, what did they?
No. But I did, like, one of the scenes that they made me screen test with Kristen for was a scene where I took my shirt off. So they did get to see it then too. But that was a little earlier on in the process. Because I ended up by the time we started filming, and this journey went right down to like a couple weeks before they started filming. I didn't know that I like re-got the role until like within a month from filming. But yeah, I ended up putting 35 pounds on in total. But
How did you do that?
Because I was so young, I was 17. The trick was like no cardio. I wish that I could, do this today. But like it was just heavy weightlifting sessions. Obviously eating was the most important thing. Like when I was filming, I would have my trainer with me and he would wake me up at like 5 a.m. and feed me a 600-700 calorie protein shake. I would down the protein shake and go back to bed for 2 hours before I had to wake up for the day. Because if I had less than 5,000 calories a day, then I would start dropping in weight. Like it wasn't natural for my body to be at the weight and muscle mass that I was at.
That was like us pre-Ozempic.
Oh my God, Claudia's like, wake up, Biggie, take a bite. Gotta maintain your weight. Oh my God, 5,000 calories. It's so funny just the way that people process food differently. Like if I had that, I'd be with you. Posted Dr. Nazardin last night in a TikTok that I saw. Like I would be on my 600-pound life, and I'd be proud.
I mean, if I did that now, it would be a different story. But at 17, I was just like burning so much.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of my journey, my trainer, like right when I started working out, I would literally do a workout and he would say, "Go over to Carl's Jr. and get a frickin' triple, cheeseburger and a chocolate shake. Like we just need to put something on your body first.
Wow.
Then we can transform it into muscle." But
wow, sounds amazing.
yeah,
That's fucking awesome. And so no injections. It was
No.
wow.
Creatine, sups, glutamine, BCAAs.
Is creatine like his water weight?
It like helps your muscle hold on to water.
Would that have like gone in like a drink?
Yeah,
I think that sounds familiar.
it's pretty benign. It's good.
Yeah.
They sell it at GNC. It's nothing on. It's
They
not.
sell it at
You don't
GNC.
get shot up with it in the Bally's locker room by some guy named Rick who's got a tan. You kind of already answered this, but so you get the part and you're walking back on set for the second movie for the part you already got once.
Yeah.
Are you a little resentful?
I don't know if resentful is the word, but I definitely was like, you know, ready to prove myself and ready to stick it to him. Like, I'm like, you know, I want to knock this out of the park so much that you question why you ever questioned me. For sure.
And so nobody told you directly that you needed to gain that weight. You just had read the books, saw the writing on the wall, team planned. Like, what a great team. Like, if you don't do that, which I'm sure most people don't.
It was, to be completely honest, it was my father who led the charge. He was the one who sat me down and he said, "Bud, you know where your character goes, and if you wait until after the movie comes out to start that journey, it's going to be too late. So if you want any chance of this, you got to start right now."
Wow.
So yeah, he was the one who sat me down and kind of had that original conversation. And then, had a couple terrific trainers, and it was a lot of work, but well worth it.
Yeah, we're the good guys.